You can't just say shit
I
and
guess
then
we'll
get away
take
with
a
saying
look at
it.
this.
I'm going to debunk you, and then you're going to respond to it. Now, if you can't handle the fact that I was able to prove you wrong, and that's why you're trying to move on,
We
well,
got
then
we
just
got
be honest about
we
it.
got
Either
another Hassan
concede or
enjoyer.
fucking respond.
Well, that's one way to treat someone who disagrees with you in a debate.
We got another
For those of you
Destiny
who don't
Hassan
know, this
enjoyer.
is Dean Withers, who is a part of that Zoomer politics group with that kid Parker who is in all the Jubilee episodes, and Harry Sisson, who said, "I'm a straight 22-year-old. I can assure you that no one believes that."
Any man who must say, I am the king, is no true king.
Anyway, Dean is 20 years old, and him and his little friend group are popular on TikTok. But today we're going to talk about his YouTube channel because that's a lot easier to deal with in an editing program. Dean is a debate bro, which is an entire meta and type of content creator that's annoyed me a lot over the past 10 years. Because most of these people seem to be creators who are a lot more concerned with farming a viral clip where they got an epic own for their
like
audience,
Sneeko,
rather than to actually
Fresh
try
and
to understand the
Fit,
viewpoint of
Vosh.
the person who disagrees with them.
I mean, I hate to
Dean is a
even.
perfect
I mean,
example
not
of
even.
this type of
I don't want to
influencer, as
lump
it is
in
immediately
Aiden Ross
obvious
and
when
all
you
those
watch him
people
that he
because
would do
some of those
anything to
people
make his
don't
opponent look like a
try to
complete
stay
piece of
away
shit.
from the political
Evidence
talk.
of that is in a video called
But
"These
right,
MAGA
a lot of
fanatics
these
are out of
streamers,
control."
right,
What's up,
like
Brisco?
to
Do you
do
support Trump?
clip farm.
Yeah, I supported his
Right,
ability
whether
to
it's
remove,
clipping
ban
you
women's
saying
sports. I'm a girl
something
dad,
that you don't
and
really
so
mean,
my
clipping
daughters
you
both
saying
compete on a high
a really
level,
fucked up
and I
joke or
would
something,
never
right?
want
Something like
them
that.
to have to compete
Whatever the
against
case may be.
a
They're
male,
always
because we are
looking for
naturally
that
stronger.
shit.
I don't know how like the right has successfully convinced you to like place 12
Also,
trans
sometimes
women
these guys
over the 66
propagate
million American women
fucking
and girls that have
lies and
lost their
bullshit
human rights
sometimes,
slash
and then
access
it
to
fucks
abortion,
over other
or
people.
the fact that more women have accused Donald Trump of
oh,
raping
Drama
them than
Alert
there is trans
is a
women
great
competing in the
Keemstar. Yeah,
NCAA.
he's a
I
great
just think that
example.
there's much larger concerns here.
What does that have to do
He's
with what
lied
the caller was
sometimes
talking
and
about?
fucked with
Like, where the
people
hell did
that
abortion come from?
didn't deserve it.
The caller said his biggest reason for why he voted for Trump is because Trump is against trans women in sports, and Dean immediately shifts to whatever he wants to talk about to make the caller look stupid. And I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that Dean didn't even wait 10 seconds to do this. Like, this is literally the first thing that happens in the video. It's like the guy says,
Yeah, no,
I love cooking, and I
Dean
think I
Withers
have a
is
great
just
pancake
unhinged.
recipe. And Dean responds, "Did you know that Hitler liked pancakes?" So I guess we're going to talk about whatever Dean wants to talk about now.
So you just really care about what you deem as women's rights, correct?
You just care about my daughters. That's it.
And you would really
You know
care
what I
about
mean?
like keeping like a man out of like your underage daughter's like dressing room, for instance?
I don't see a reason why he would be in there with my daughter.
Okay. Like imagine that there's a shitty man, right? Not a trans woman, a cis man that walks into the changing room of your daughter. She's 17. She's an underage girl. She's naked, undressed.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
how
really
did
sure
this
why
guy
he got
get
onto
in?
the topic of locker rooms here,
where did
much
this
less
come
the idea of
from?
a normal heterosexual male entering a woman's locker room.
Yeah, that's
It kinda
illegal.
seems like he's being aggressive here because he very specifically doesn't want the caller to mention stuff like Loudoun County before he can frame the transgender locker room issue in the way that he wants. And certainly Dean would want to make sure that he took control over the conversation before the caller brings up that Riley Gaines interview, where she talks about how a biological male was not only allowed to unfairly compete against her, but was also allowed to use the women's changing room.
I turn around, there's a 6'4", 22-year-old
Oh yeah,
male
yeah, these
dropping his clothes and is fully
yeah. You give
intact
them
with
these
an exposing
instances
male
of
genitalia.
right.
So
right,
let me be clear.
trying to put
We were not
these people in
forewarned
vulnerable
we would be sharing this
positions.
changing space.
And it's
No
like,
one
what are you
told us.
doing?
Believe it or not, it gets worse. After this happened, Riley talked to one of the officials about the new locker room rules and about how a biological male was allowed to watch the women change.
I went up to him and I said, I understand the guidelines for the meet, which was at the time it was only 12 months of hormone suppression. I said, I know that, but what are the guidelines for the locker room? And word for word, this is what he says. Oh, we actually got around this by making the locker rooms unisex. So I'm like, okay, unisex. Okay, so this means that any man could have walked into our locker room. Any man, not just a self-identifying woman.
A fan seeking opportunity?
And no one told us?
This whole event also included the women who went to the school of the male swimmer being told their lives would be ruined if they spoke out against him, and they had to go to re-education courses so they could think more inclusively. This was quite an infuriating interview to watch. But anyway, let's see where Dean is going with the locker room situation. Why would he bring that up? It seems like a great way to lose a debate.
Like imagine that there's a shitty man that walked into the changing room of your daughter. She's 17. She's an underage girl. She's naked, undressed. What do you think should happen to that man?
If he walks in, Walking in for what exactly? Did he walk in on accident?
To perv on them while they were naked, and he did so intentionally.
He gets the same treatment as anyone else.
What should happen to him?
If he tried something, he should be locked up.
He should be locked up. If an older man did this, boasted about it, said he got away with it, never got jailed, then ran for president, would you ever vote or support that man?
Are you talking? What are you talking about Trump
doesn't
now?
matter who it is, bro.
I'm guessing he's talking about Trump now. At that
Even if it
point.
was Trump?
Okay, that's where he's going with this. He's trying to escape the very valid concern from parents of allowing boys into girls' bathrooms.
Yeah, he's
and
somehow
locker rooms.
trying to
And
equate
it's not just
Trump
at school,
somehow.
but also places like
Or
Disneyland.
this guy.
So he's escaping this by shifting the conversation to a story about Trump, which is a tactic straight out of a book called Rules for Radicals, a book that Dean has almost certainly read. It's the handbook for people like him. And to put it simply, it's a book that teaches bad faith influencing tactics and dark triad behavior for the sole purpose of winning. Towards the end, there's a chapter on tactics where the author describes different rules to follow to be effective in convincing people of radical political change. Rule number 2, never go outside the experiences of your people. This one's not that bad because it's actually a rule that applies generally. You should always try to speak to the experiences that people you're talking to can relate to. This
Yeah,
is just
I
a
mean,
basic
yeah, that's why you
communication
don't
skill,
try
but
to.
It's all set up for the next tactic,
Right.
which
That's
is
why
rule
you
3,
don't try. That's why
that says
you
that
try to
should,
scope
wherever
it within
possible, go
whatever
outside of the
whatever
experience of the
knowledge they
enemy.
have,
This rule is great because any
or
one
whatever
person can't know
experience or
everything.
education
So as a
they've
dishonest person,
received.
you can just bring up some
Right.
random
If they've
sample
received
fact to
a
your
high
opponent,
school
and if they don't know
education,
it,
you should probably
the
keep
audience
it
will
high
perceive
school
them as
level,
stupid.
right?
You might even convince your opponent
If
that they're
they
stupid for
had
not
a
knowing the
college
random thing that you
education,
brought
you
up.
should probably
It's
keep
quite
it
an
college
effective
level.
tactic in a
right?
live debate,
like
especially
that.
against people who are unaware of it. So that's the reason that Dean has brought this story up about Trump in a locker room instead of sticking to the topic about trans women in sports. Now, in the next part, Dean is going to play a clip of Trump talking about locker rooms, but the way he does it is really confusing and abrupt. For context, he plays a 2005 clip of Donald Trump talking to Howard Stern about
Yeah.
beauty
Can we say the
pageants.
same
And
about
to make it
Dean?
less
I mean, not
confusing,
Dean with it.
I'm going to use a different cut of this
fucking,
moment, but I will play
this
the
guy.
exact words that Dean plays and then cut back to him talking and abusing the caller.
Oh, I see.
You tend to think about the conflict a little bit later on.
The question is, how can it not
Yeah,
be
Howard
confusing?
Stern.
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now, tell
Well,
me
I'll
what
tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes.
So this is where he's getting. So this is where he's getting the right. So this is where they're all like, "Oh, Trump is a predator because he's doing that." But it's just like, are you? These women were like of age, right? And they were in a
Looking
dressing
women.
room.
And so I sort of get away with things like that.
So the non-hypocritical, rational response would be at this point to say that you're no longer a Trump supporter because immediately before I rolled that tape, you said that you would never support anybody that did this. You'd never vote for them to be the president, even if it was Trump. I'm putting my money on you just being a hypocrite. And are you no longer MAGA?
All right, so probably the most frustrating part of listening to Dean is that you have to fact check literally everything he says because he's always leaving out important context or just straight up lying.
Correct.
Though
He's like
before we
Hassan.
get into that, I will note
Or
that
Destiny.
Dean caters to a younger demographic, so they likely don't
Yeah,
understand
it's like-
the environment of the
Yeah, it's like, oh, but this thing happened back there. Why don't you talk about this thing that happened back there in 1948? Okay, so what happened in who gives a fuck what happened back in the day?
Howard Stern show because he is before their time.
It's a
The show is supposed to be offensive.
the
so
problem
Trump may
that's
be playing
happening
it up
now
for the
has
listeners.
nothing to do with
In
the
fact, there is
past.
still an
The
episode of
problem
the
now
Stern
has
Show with
everything
Trump
to
on
do with
YouTube,
what the
and you can
conflict that
see
you
Howard
guys
pushing
just
Trump to be edgy.
caused
Stern
recently.
does that every show. The whole point is to have dirty humor, so stories or storytelling may be embellished. That being said, there is so much context missing here. Dean says that Trump was creeping on minors, but there's no indication of that from this clip.
Yeah, there's
Trump
no
owned
indication
a
of
pageant for
that.
adults and a pageant for teens, and I'm guessing that Trump is talking about the pageant for adults because no one outside of maybe Andrew Tate would be stupid enough to voluntarily admit to having an inappropriate
Yeah,
relationship
no one
with a
would
minor
admit that would
while
be
being
dumb.
interviewed. Dean is also assuming that Trump didn't have consent from the adult women to enter the locker room. I think everyone here can picture in their head a situation where a bunch of young adult women would be perfectly fine with a billionaire being in their presence, dressed or not. But let's take a closer look. Trump owned Miss Universe, Miss USA, and Miss Teen USA.
Correct.
This allegation from Dean happened at a Miss Teen USA event in 1997, So basically 30 years ago, and the articles I found on it were 20 years after the event, so I'm sure everyone's memory is crystal clear. To sum it all up, these are just stories from people who were there, and nobody has any concrete evidence that Trump did anything illegal. This article here says that the girls' chaperones for the pageant told them to get dressed.
So this was
Trump
during the
entered,
time where he was doing his
never allowed anything inappropriate
his
to have
TV
happened.
shows and
Even
stuff
in this
like that.
BuzzFeed article, that's far more against Trump. None of the witness testimonies said they were actually undressed around him.
I mean,
merely said they were
before
rushing to get
he
dressed when
started
they were told he
campaigning
was
for
visiting.
presidency, right?
So this is not Trump creeping on 17-year-olds like Dean said. I mean, you could argue that maybe there's a more appropriate place for Trump to meet the contestants, but considering that this is a beauty pageant, I can imagine that a significant amount of the time that the girls aren't on stage is spent in the dressing room perfecting their outfit or their makeup. I don't know that much about pageants, but I can imagine that this area, a lot of the time, might be the most convenient place for a busy person to quickly meet everybody, and provided that they were all dressed, other adults were there, and proper boundaries were maintained, I don't see this as a problem. As for the adult pageants, we have a testimony from former Miss Arizona, Tasha Dixon. Let's hear what she has to say.
Our first introduction to him was when we were at the dress rehearsal and half naked changing into our bikinis.
Dixon was 18 at the time and says watching Trump storm into a dressing room was shocking.
To have the owner come waltzing in when we're naked or half naked in a very physically vulnerable position, and then to have the pressure of the the people that work for him telling us to go fawn all over him, go walk up to him, talk to him, get his attention. Who do you complain to? He owns the pageant.
Notice how they said 18. So at the very least, that's another strike against Dean for the pedo allegations.
They were of consenting
based
age.
on Dean's extreme lack of evidence here.
I mean, also
that
they chose to do right. They could have just said
they all got sued by Trump, and Trump won all those lawsuits. CBS slandered Trump. They called him a rapist, and he sued them for defamation, and he won.
As for what Tasha said, it sounds inappropriate for Trump to enter a locker room while women are changing. However, Trump has denied these allegations, so now it's he said, she said, and considering that this happened 15 years prior to that interview, and there seems to be no proof outside of taking someone's word for it, and no other witnesses made their names public to corroborate Tasha's story, I'm going to say that Trump is innocent until proven guilty. False allegations happen a lot with rich people and public figures, and the reason we have legal standards is to
just
prevent
look at
abusers from
the fucking
everyone they don't like.
right, the
Tasha
sports
claims that her
industry. You have a lot of
allegations weren't
sports
politically
people who
motivated,
get into
but
a
I
lot
find
of
that very hard to
shenanigans.
believe because she appears to have made them a month before the 2016 election. So I don't think she's being honest about that. Now, to go on a slight tangent because it's relevant, I know that Trump is taking shit right now from MAGA because he went on Truth Social and said the Epstein files were fake, which no one believes. I know everyone's mad about that, and I'm not happy about it either, and like everyone else, I hope they do get released. Though more importantly, this video is not really about Trump, it's about Dean, and Dean just so happens to be talking about Trump here because he talks about Trump in like every
he talks
video.
about Trump.
I mean, this guy uses MAGA in his titles more than people used to use the word woke before Fox News anchors made that term cringe.
I think woke is dead.
So understand that anything I say here is not an endorsement.
I mean,
of
it's the same
Republicans
thing
not
like
keeping
all
their
the
promise to
other
release the
right.
list.
I mean, there's
It's
a
to
bunch
talk
of
about
content
Dean's
creators that
constant
kind
use
of do the
bad
same
faith
thing.
tactics, and since Trump is basically the only thing that Dean seems to talk about, we're going to talk about Trump.
There's
Anyway,
even
as the
lawyers that
debate
do
goes
sort
on,
of the
instead of
similar,
actually
right,
engaging
the
with
same
the
vein.
ideas of his opposition about trans women in sports, Dean continues to use this video to do anything he can to attack Trump in any way.
Is there anything that Trump could do, any red line, that would make you regret your vote? I want an answer to my question.
I'm trying to tell you.
Yes or no? Is there
I don't
anything
know.
that
I don't
Donald Trump
know
could
them.
do that would make you regret your vote? What if he committed a genocide on the other
What
side of
if
the
he
world?
could-
He bombed and killed 1 million people. Would you
Didn't-
still support him?
Didn't he just bomb Yemen? didn't he just bomb Houthis? Didn't he just bomb Iran? I was okay with that. I didn't give a fuck. Why would I give a fuck about terrorists? So yeah, I don't give a fuck. Nuke them. The N-word. Oh, the N-bomb.
They should retaliate.
But would you regret your vote?
Yeah, we
if
did
tomorrow
retaliate.
He dropped a bomb and killed 1 million people in Asia.
Yeah, but Trump hasn't done that, and also
What-
this is completely
what does
irrelevant
Asia
the
have to
initial
do with
question.
anything?
But I mean, if we're gonna propose that as a hypothetical, then I don't think that's a path you want to go down as an Obama supporter.
Obama says that he wants to run for president in 2028. Will you be voting for him?
Okay, well, Obama hasn't said that. He literally can't. It'd be unconstitutional, but obviously I would. Yeah.
I'm guessing Dean didn't know this because he got into politics like 5 minutes ago. But Obama was infamous for promising to end the Iraq War that Bush started, followed by taking his sweet-ass time to do that.
Yeah.
I hate President Bush too, by the way. So Obama continued that war and ordered tons of drone strikes that had a really bad habit of killing civilians.
Yeah.
And then he goes and jokes about it in a speech.
The Jonas brothers are here. Sasha and Malia are huge fans, but boys don't get any ideas.
This is.
I have 2 words.
This is why I call him the shit-eating grin president. When he puts on that smile about drone striking people.
For you. Predator drones. You will never see it coming. You think I'm joking?
I love how these people are like, you must disavow your candidate or you're an evil hypocrite.
You must think I'm joking. I drone strike the hell out of them kids.
They're politicians, guys. They all do bad stuff. I think the only criticism that I heard Dean give Obama is that he wasn't far enough on the left. Meanwhile, if Trump finds a quarter on the street and doesn't instantly donate it to charity, well, then he's basically the devil. The debate continues with the caller
Satan
talking about how he only wants a politician who addresses his personal concerns.
I don't care about y'all, you, or anybody else. I care about my circle, and my household. If he does something to somebody else,
I have a question.
Go handle him.
I have a question.
I will handle him.
I have a question. If Donald Trump re-legalized slavery in America,
what's this word? He's literally like Hassan and Destiny, making these crazy leaps out of nowhere. What do you mean You know who's more accustomed to doing slavery right now? Ukraine, because they're conscripting people into their fucking army. What about Russia, right? Or North Korea when they fucking helping Russia right now, yeah? Oh yeah, people forgot about that. North Korea helping Russia. Everybody forgets, oh yeah, North Korea. And you people are insufferable fucking maggots. You guys know nothing. You guys are fucking playing so many stupid games, I just want to hang all of you.
And it didn't personally impact you or your family or anybody that you personally know, enslaved
so
5 million
insufferable.
African Americans in this country.
That's a fucked up situation, and somebody need to pull together so we can turn it around.
Would you have regretted your vote?
No.
My vote is about
Why?
my kids.
So he could literally
Biden would do the same thing.
Still would have stood
Obama did the same thing.
If it impacts
Why does it matter?
It didn't impact your children.
These people have immunity.
If it doesn't impact any in my family, then no.
I mean, that was a terrible way for the caller to frame that, but in general, people only vote for things that directly benefit them or their group, and they don't really care about anyone else.
Correct.
Even when they claim they are voting out of compassion for others, those tend to be the most
Everyone
selfish
has
types of
their own
people.
self-interest
This
in
also
mind.
applies to Dean, as I
mean,
assure
everyone
you that he
has
does not care about
self-preservation, do
Democrats
they
who are
not?
trying to effectively reinstate slavery through illegal aliens.
Right? Whether
because
it's to protect your own, protect your family, that self-preservation will stick with
across
you.
the border. I think I've heard enough leftists basically make the without the slaves, who will pick the cotton argument in my lifetime to see that if it was 1860, you could
you could just pick the cotton yourself, you know, you could just buy your own farmland or, you know, start growing. You know how easy it is to do just a little bit of agriculture? It's not that hard.
He has to create
just
weird
buy some
hypotheticals
seeds,
to smear his opponent to win an argument.
water the plants,
instead of talking about things that
and,
actually happened.
right
Would you
during
regret your vote
season,
for
during
Trump
certain
if Donald
seasons,
Trump
make sure to
systemically slaughtered every
plant the seeds during certain times to make sure you don't fucking kill the plants.
It could be anybody.
Because everything is
I don't vote
right.
for anything else. That's it.
Done by time,
According to what you played, the audio you played, it sounds like he's a horrible dude. But if you get Trump out of office right now, and the next person get in, no matter who it is.
Well, I mean, right, even if you impeach right, if people were trying to impeach Trump right now, right, as they were, right, you would either have like what, JD Vance or I guess Marco Rubio. I don't think he would. I guess him. Yeah, him too. Or DeSantis, right? Or there you have 3 candidates right there. Who else would? Yeah, basically those 3 for now. There's probably more you could probably add on there. But for
that guy
for the
was
Democrat Party,
an
you have
actual
like
psychopath.
no one.
To
I guess
the
what you could
fullest
put.
extent of what that would mean.
I guess you put
That
on
was
what AOC.
completely
Oh
just
God.
absolutely
you what?
Can we
Jasmine
all agree that people
Jasmine
like
Crockett.
that should
I like how Dean shut off the caller's
fucking-
mic right before he was about to say
Oh,
that
fucking
politicians
who-
in general have done a
I
lot
don't,
of
I don't
evil
know who you
things.
put on the
And if you
Democrat
take
team,
one out,
man.
his
That-
replacement is likely to be a
shit,
piece of
that
shit
fucking
too,
ship has
which is
sunk.
something that most people would agree with. That was very honest and fair of Dean to cut off the more reasonable part of his take.
that
and
fucking
then call him a
submarine got
psycho.
scuttled.
But Dean, I think you'll find that
long
most
ago.
voters share extremely similar sentiments to your caller and will ignore insane amounts of bad behavior if it's from their favorite candidate. I'm sure
Yeah.
he knows that. He argues with people professionally.
Oh, I
which is
guess you
why he
could
brought
put
up completely
Kamala, but
retarded
she couldn't
hypotheticals, so his
even
opponent
fucking
would
do
look bad
anything.
after falling for the trap.
Even
He's really just
after
clip
they
farming
fucking
here.
kicked
He spends
Biden to the
whole interview
curb.
using false evidence as fact, does everything he can to take the caller out of context. Makes
Oh
up
yeah, they
extreme
also
and irrelevant
love the
hypotheticals,
right
and says the caller is a
cancer-ridden
psycho
president.
again.
That
Well,
was
as stated in Rules for
that was
Radicals,
somehow president.
Ridicule is a man's most potent weapon. Dean has to do that because he can't win on merit. And think of how embarrassing
Right.
this is. As a professional, without using bad faith tactics, he can't even
Right, they
debate
always
an
have to
unprepared,
hide behind the
low-information
shield of
caller
like
who
what some kind
admittedly
of
is a
charity or
single-issue voter.
cause.
That is
right?
pathetic.
Right, what
But
he's saying
again,
here.
Dean, are you sure that violence is a route that you want to go down? Remind me which party is responsible
Correct.
for effectively all
right,
of
all
the
of these
violence.
guys'
Like how many
right,
people on
all
the
of
left
these
have said to
guys'
kill white people
choice
or Jews,
ends you
or have
into a
said things that are disgustingly
situation
racist
where
for the
they
purpose of
want you to be
justifying those
violent
things.
towards
Jewish
the
is
other
not an
person.
ethnicity. It's
Right, all the
constructed
orbiters
ethnicity.
of
It's
Hassan and those
demonic
guys, right? They all
ethnicity.
want you
Also
to do
note that
violence.
This guy, Mike from PA,
It's fucking weird.
DMCA'd the Reddit archive of this to cover up what was said. And what about Destiny saying that Trump and his supporters should be killed?
Correct.
Well, I mean, a lot of the left is saying that these days.
Yes.
Taylor Lorenz
A
made
lot
a
of
whole
left people are
compilation
saying
of
that.
it.
Yeah, even
In
Taylor
fact, speaking
Lorenz.
of Taylor, she and Hassan Piker did a talk where he openly encouraged terrorism.
874 beam drive, and I'm gonna kill you with my AR-15. Like that's the type of messages they were leaving in this dude's office.
I don't
And
even know what the fuck he's talking about.
resigning. Like he's literally, this is his last term. So I think that people are a lot more radical now. This is a time, is an unprecedented time. And you actually wrote about this, and it was a great video where you talked about,
The soy
someone
boys
has
flock
to do
together, or the soy crowd
See,
flock
when I
together.
say
right?
that, everyone knows exactly what I mean. That which is, I think that shows that there's a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and untapped potential, untapped revolutionary potential.
Oh,
as a
this is
matter
the
of fact.
anti-ICE
Man,
stuff.
get your girl to look at you the way Taylor looks at Hassan. Imagine that power couple. Also, why the hell has this guy not been arrested? Are they just going to let him incite violence over and over again?
I
to a
mean, it
huge
seems like
audience
it.
With no consequences?
I mean, Twitch
I will
allows
say
it.
this, though, because in the past, I used to be more kind towards people like Dean or people in the Hassan group chat. And
Why?
certainly, I still will give them credit for making good arguments, and I will try to counter-argue in good faith. I do that for the audience, and not out of respect for a person like Dean. However, I also now realize that
Why
a lot
would
of
you
people out there
argue
are
in good
just
faith?
evil or
These people
demonic,
never
and only
argue
use
in
their
good
words and
faith. You
emotions or
see
kind
it
sentiments to
constantly.
deceive people.
Why do you
Demons
keep
use words to trick
Why do you
humans.
keep
You can't trust.
See,
a
this
thing
is the other issue. These people are already arguing in bad faith. Why do you keep extending the goodwill when you already know they're going to try and fuck you? That doesn't make any sense. These people are already out to be aggressors. You're already trying to play.
They say it's in their
Why?
blood. They're descended
Why?
from liars.
A very on-the-nose metaphor from anime.
Honestly, you should just
Not to
hang
say
these
that I
people for
include
just
everyone
being
I criticize in this
bad
category.
faith.
For example, I think Ludwig deserves harsh criticism, but I also think he can redeem himself. I've never thought
No,
that Ludwig
no.
is like Hassan, despite the fact that they are friends. Ludwig is more
Right,
of a coward who
Ludwig,
makes stupid
Sea-Dog,
decisions
and
than
all
he is
those people,
malevolent.
no, they can't
But as
redeem
for the others,
themselves.
I no longer believe they deserve the
Actually, they
humanization
don't
and
even
respect
say
that I used to give
anything.
them, as they will only see that as a
because
weakness that
they
can
know
use
that
against you.
they will
These
get
people are evil, and the only thing they deserve is to be
And they're all
severely
friends with
punished
this
for what they've
fuckhead,
done.
too.
And when I include Dean in this category, it's not just how he debates. What I mean is that, like, just a couple of years ago, he was trying to pull an Andrew Tate Hustlers University scam.
While you guys are at home sitting on your
Mm,
asses,
yeah.
I just took a private jet out to LA with $1 million in this rental passenger seats in a coach duffel bag, couple grand in the lap. I'm about to go drop it at Louis.
Is that Dean
When I
Withers?
opened up the pre-order for my e-Bible, which goes over effectively every single way I've been able to live my dream life.
What
at
is that?
17
Oh
years
my
old,
god,
making money
he is
online.
Dean
Yeah,
Withers.
people are really going to believe a 17-year-old is a
no, that's
multimillionaire real
lies.
estate mogul or whatever who has advice that's worth paying for. Look, he's even copying Andrew Tate's posing,
Yeah.
and he tried to crypto scam people too. The crypto part is explained in this next clip that is the courtesy of this YouTube video by Remnant777 that very much does not have enough views on it.
The university will teach highly specific skills, such as
Oh, so he just
management
basically
and
copy pasted
advanced,
fucking Andrew
cryptocurrency
Tate, right?
trading.
By the way, for some reason, all this stuff is still online even though it's 3 years old. You can go to this Telegram here and fact check it yourself. However, when all this Andrew Tate scam artist stuff didn't work for him, Dean moved into politics because there's a ton of money in politics if you want to lie to people professionally. Just ask Nancy Pelosi.
Correct.
And a lot of Dean's videos seem to go like the one where he's arguing about locker rooms. He starts the conversation off semi-politely, goes completely off topic, and then tries to accuse the opponent of being the devil. Which brings us to one of Dean's latest dramas.
Wait,
Now,
no,
the full
you're not.
context of
You're not
this, I
being
believe, is
serious,
lost
are you?
Because Dean memory hold it after the
You-
backlash. But he and
did
the
he
caller
really
appear to be
just
talking
call
about
the
Trump's
person
ownership
he
of
was
the Miss Teen USA
right having a
pageants and his appearance
conversation
in the
with
locker
the
room
devil?
that I spoke about earlier. Now, just as a reminder, as
Did-
far as I'm
didn't he
aware,
want
no
that? I'm
degenerate
so
behavior
confused. What?
occurred in the teen pageants, and since Dean has not provided any counter evidence in these clips, they're basically slander. Anyway,
You're going to tell me that the parents of the teenagers aren't there either? I mean, I wouldn't send my kid to a pageant by themselves.
Do you think that a parent can consent to a teenager being perved on by an old man?
That's the whole point of a beauty pageant is people looking at teenagers clammed up, dude. I don't know what else to tell you. I think they're weird in the first place. You're
Father.
glorifying young women and children in the first place.
I agree. I think beauty pageants for minors should be outlawed, or at the very least,
Yeah,
certain parts of them should be.
So you're a father of a young daughter. Do you think you have the?
Well, I mean,
I'm not. You
Is that-
assume
is
that.
that a
it
young
was
son?
like the
Yes.
the
Do you think that
talent
you have the right
pageants you
as the
had
father of
for
that
young
son
teens
to
and shit
consent
back
to
in the
having
day, or
older
right.
people take pictures of your son.
Some people
while your
did
son
some
is
shady
naked?
shit.
If I was dumb enough to send my kid in, it's no different than a baby commercial for diapers.
Can you answer my question? Do you think that you have the right to consent to 65-year-old men looking at your son while he's naked?
I wouldn't allow it.
Do you think that you have the
Responsibility of the
right?
father.
Do you think that you have the right to allow it? Do you think if you did allow it, that you would be violating the consent of your child?
They have no choice in the matter whatsoever. It's my decision.
Yeah,
as the parent. And I wouldn't put my kid in that
as the
situation.
guardian.
That's why I think pageants are weird in the first place.
I'm not sure where Dean is going with this.
Basically, he's trying to say is, oh, you're trying to rip away your child's rights as a human being, but the child, right? That child doesn't know shit at the moment. They don't know anything in the real world. You're gonna tell, hey, little Timmy, you want to go out driving? Here, grab the steering wheel. Here, can you reach the pedal? It's like, no, dude, don't do that. Yeah, I mean, look, these people are disingenuous fucking retards. Let's be real.
For one, children don't have the right to legally consent to anything.
Yeah, they
which is why
don't.
good
Like, they
parenting is
can't even.
important. Second,
Yeah,
Dean
Timmy,
is
I'm
acting
just
like
gonna
a
let you
65-year-old who is
drive
not the
my
parent,
car.
who's never changed a child's
Like,
diaper
what?
before, or he's acting like parents don't give consent for a doctor to see a child without clothes on to perform an exam.
Correct.
Or that naked baby pictures aren't a thing that people commonly consent to. It really depends on the context of the situation, and the context in this case is that Trump met a bunch of fully dressed teenagers in front of their parents, which is something that I can imagine that basically everyone's okay with. I
Yeah.
really don't like how people like Dean are trying to make everything pedophilia. Oh my God, this guy's attracted to a fully grown adult. What a creep. Or how dare Chris Evans be in a relationship with a woman in her 20s?
Oh my God, I know that. How disgusting. He's a God, I can't even say the term because it's gonna sound like I'm making a fucking allocation towards him.
Relationship with a woman in her 20s. So after this moment that he farmed out of the collar, Dean decides to do a thumbnail pose of his extreme shock for like 30 seconds, and then he does this.
So here's what we're gonna do. I think that you don't deserve to have any custodial rights over.
Oh, this guy, stop. I'm sorry. Dean Withers is not someone who can talk about having children and how parents should be able. This I'm sorry. This guy is he's a kid. He's a kid at heart. He's a fucking weird. I don't think this guy is gonna have any children in his life if he's gonna act this way. Man, if he actually has a child and he actually did this shit, I'm pretty sure he's gonna get his fucking rights revoked from guardianship from the child. Holy fuck, man.
So, for those watching,
He's the real slave driver.
91096.
And why are you trying to dox people, dude? That's weird.
Because I want to find who you are, so I could call CPS and have them take your child away from you.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you would like to try to do that.
Yes, I would. So
they would never even do it. That's the best part.
Okay. What's
Because
your name?
I would take the part, and I have a witness sitting here who's heard me say I would never put my child in that situation.
Okay. So what's your name?
This is why I have no problems with comparing people like Dean to a demon from a popular fantasy series.
Yeah, I mean, Dean
This
Withers
is literally
is just
evil.
a
He's,
retard.
going to
He's
call
like
the
Hassan
CPS on someone
in
to win a
Destiny.
debate.
Do the
And you know he got
same
this
fucking
idea from
strong
the whole
arm
Ethan
tactics
Klein
as
drama,
usual.
where a bunch of Hassan
Or
viewers
Denims,
and
yeah.
groupies like Denims
That's
called
good.
the CPS on
Yeah,
Ethan
Denims.
and
Or
laughed as they tried to
Mike
have
from
his
P.
kids taken
Should we
away for
bring up
basically
Mike
the
from
same
P?
reason, which again was to win an internet argument.
All these people, incidentally, who are promoting this type of insanity are, in fact, childless and will likely remain that
they're all
way.
children.
Yeah, it's not a shock that it's always childless losers who are doing this to people with kids. Only a
Right.
complete piece of shit would try to
Yeah,
alienate
all
a
of these
child from their
people,
parents
all
over internet
childrenless.
drama.
I don't think
So
they're in
naturally,
any
Dean starts to
relationships.
educate
I
people
don't
on
think
how
they
to
have
dox
like
someone,
a
which is a
they're
crime,
they don't
by
have
the
like
way.
a significant
Doxing is a
other
crime
that
where
they're
he
dating or
lives.
anything
so you
like
said
that.
you think that parents have every right to
At least these
exploit and
people
traffic their
who
children. So
No,
I-
that's
he
not
just
what I said.
showed.
So I'm not going to debate it with you. That is what you said. So I
I
just
don't
putting
know
this out
why
there
these
for
guys are
anybody.
making these
Feel free
types
to,
of
take
right
his profile picture,
claims
maybe you can go
or
to, like TikTok.com
trying to
/
tell
his
people,
handle.
hey, you
You
should
can
act
save his
this
profile
way.
picture,
Like
run it
what?
through some
No,
of your
fuck
first
off.
image search. Maybe it will link back to like a Facebook or something where you could find his name. Feel
Not
free to
what I
take that
said.
information and report it to CPS. I really hope that there's at least one person out of the 11,000 people watching right now that has the the technical know-how, the ability, and the skill to find that information. And
Even if I had the technical ability
This
to
is
do
not
all
only
this shit, I
dangerous
wouldn't
for
even
that
help
guy, as
Dean
he could be
Withers.
swatted,
He's the
but
last
also
person I
teaching
would
tons
fucking
of
help.
viewers how to dox people
If
is
anything,
bad for the
I'd
entire
rather
creator
put a
space
bullet in my
because you're
head than
empowering
fucking help
crazies
him.
with information on how
It's
to
the same
harass
with
people.
Hassan. I'd
This
rather put a
weaponizing the
bullet in
CPS
my
and
head than
encouraging
help
your viewers to
Hassan
dox
or
people
Destiny.
is
for
something
that
you should go
matter.
to jail for, yet Dean received zero consequences for it. I don't think he even got in trouble with YouTube or TikTok despite it being against the rules. But of course, this is all for the sake of the kids.
And yeah, we look out for children here. I think that we can all agree here that we care about children's safety. And that was a father that said that he believes he has every right to exploit and traffic his child, and that the child has no say.
Yeah, he didn't say that. What happened was that you
Yeah.
created one of your dumb hypotheticals to
Yeah,
attack
he
the
made
caller
he
because
tried
you're
to
retarded and don't know how
shoehorn
to
him
have a
into
conversation without being
into a
deceptive.
hypothetical
The
trap,
caller
but he couldn't
responded, "I would
even
never
do
that because I think
properly.
it's wrong," which was not the answer that you wanted. So you just went ahead and lied about what he said to get your audience to harass him with fraudulent
Correct.
CPS
Yeah,
calls.
he's
Dean,
basically
you're
like
literally a
Hassan, where he
child
just
predator.
lies.
You said their parental rights should be taken away because you disagree with them on politics.
Yeah.
Again, do you see why I called him evil? He's trying to alienate that kid from his mother and his father, or
Correct.
get them doxxed and swatted over an internet argument. That's
Yes.
predation on a kid. You're trying to cause harm to a child to get TikTok points.
I mean,
and quite honestly,
doesn't
I don't understand why
Hassan
none of these
want
people
that
face
same
any
power
legal
too?
consequences for openly committing crimes. Not to mention that social media platforms seem to enforce their
I
rules
bet
on
Destiny
everyone
wants that
else,
kind of power
except for
too.
people like this.
God, it's so cringe. He's acting so performatively right now. Like he's acting like he's like the coolest anime protagonist. Like he's collected anime protagonist.
Yeah, he's got
Dean did a
he's
follow-up
got
video
main
to this
character
event where he
syndrome.
doubles
Literally.
down and sort of fake apologizes. There's not much point in showing it because almost all of it is a rehash of what I
Oh
just
yeah, he
showed
fake
you,
yeah,
followed
he
by
did
talking
fake
about how
apologize
he is morally
for
justified to do what he
false
did,
accusations,
and at the
but
very end he
it's
gives a
on deaf
great
ears.
Frogan
This
style
guy's a fucking
non-apology
retard.
where you say, "I
Yeah,
could
he's
have
like
handled it
Frogan,
better,"
literally.
instead of saying "I'm sorry."
It's not called doubling down if you're right.
Oh
Dean is
no,
like a
stop!
complete psycho with how he will
No,
Andrew
you
Tate
brought
style
up
scam
fucking.
people, take people out of context, and falsely accuse
Why
his
did you have to
opponents.
bring up
I don't
Pirate
claim to have
Software?
watched
He
all of
has
his
nothing
content,
to
but in the
do with
content I have watched,
He's
the
not
dark
even
triad
into the
debate
fucking
tactics are
political
always
realm.
present.
Ah, that's
For
fucked
example,
up.
this next video called "MAGA Bro Denies and Deflects His Way Through Our Entire Debate." What a title. I'm sure none of that is a projection. Anyway, this video is a heated discussion about illegal aliens and deportation.
It was
I think
just
mass
the
deportation is a
meme.
terrible
He was
policy, and I
just
usually
using
categorize 3
fucking
reasons
him
why.
as an
The first
fucking
category would be
pirate
the economy, the
software.
second category would be
That's it.
ethically, and the third category would be practically. It fails in the ethical category. I mean, that one's going to be obvious. We're ripping mothers and fathers that are hardworking away from their families.
Wow, that's a super interesting thing that you said there. You mean to say that you
Wait,
think
did he
it's
just
wrong
do
to
a
separate children from
Spotify
their
ad, though?
parents? Weird how in this
When he
context
did
that
that?
matters
Wait,
to
what?
you. With that said, I'm just going to summarize Dean's main points here to save us some time. Dean believes that deporting illegals hurts the economy because it lowers the GDP, which, by the way,
What?
is not a great example of the economic health of the average citizen.
Yeah.
He says that deportation is not ethical and it's not practical. His current
What?
stance is that only the criminals should be deported. And for everyone else, what he says next is how he would handle people illegally crossing the U.S. border.
And then it fails in the category of practicality because it is really hard to do, and there's other solutions that we could go about and use to identify everybody in this country, such as mass amnesty, that would be more practical.
No. You just gotta go. You gotta go Bukel. You gotta go the Bukel route. You gotta go El Salvador.
Yeah, just
You
don't
would
enforce the
Bukel
law.
them.
That's his solution.
No.
Give
You're
everyone
doing it
legal
the
status,
wrong.
basically. Make it not a crime to cross the border, which I guess technically would be a more practical way to
You
identify
get
people
friends.
because maybe
You
they
get
would
friends with
voluntarily
Mr.
report
Bukel.
themselves to be registered. I mean, they could also voluntarily leave the country. That's an
Be
option
friends
as well.
and then,
but more importantly,
make up
Dean's
some
mass
more.
amnesty plan doesn't disincentivize millions of people from illegally crossing the border. In fact, it would encourage more people to do it, so it's not a solution. Every country has finite resources. You can't just
Correct.
give them all away for free like we're doing with
Correct.
illegals. I also
Yes.
think this is
I mean,
completely tone deaf.
not even right. We're not only are we giving free shit to the illegals, we're also giving free shit to poverty people who are on welfare, right? We're giving free shit to the homeless, right? We're giving so many free shit to already so many groups of people, and then you're going to add on top of that more people. You see where this is going? It's a never-ending problem because you keep fucking trying to do Band-Aid fixes.
How many legal immigrants hate the illegals? These
Never
days,
gonna
I see
end.
videos of them getting dissed for not assimilating to
You
American
need to
culture
stop
on a
that
regular
shit.
basis.
Hola. ¿Habla español? Excuse me, does anyone speak Spanish? No. ¿Hay alguien que habla español aquí?
No.
Habla número 10? I'm sorry, we're close.
Damn right. Also, allow me to remind everyone that this is a bipartisan issue. Both the left and the right don't like
Fucking
illegals.
shut out
Don't let critters
immediately.
like Dean fool you into thinking
Goddamn.
that this is a left versus
Ugh.
right battle. It's not.
What is this,
Traditionally,
Japan?
the left has
I'm
been
sorry.
very against illegal aliens, and most people don't want amnesty because it's bad for the country. Anyway, next the caller makes an excellent point in reference to Dean saying that he wants to deport the criminals.
I have been watching the news for the past 4 years, and it's nothing but immigrants and sex offenders, and you don't know their criminal history.
I would have liked to have played more, but Dean cuts him off almost instantly as he's about to make a good point. The point was that Dean said that he is for deporting criminals, but no one else. So the caller counters with, if they're coming over illegally, how do you know who has a criminal history so you can deport them? I
Correct.
think Dean's answer might be the amnesty thing, but then they would just not apply
Oh,
for
my-
it. Because if they do, they would get deported.
Yeah.
So the only way to identify their criminal history under Dean's plan is to wait for them to get caught committing a crime.
Correct.
Do we not see
Which
a problem
doesn't
here?
sound very
American
viable.
citizens
Why
have
not
to be
just ask the
subjected to
government for?
possibly multiple crimes from a
Why not
single
just
illegal
ask the
alien
government where they
before he
came
gets
from?
caught when he could have just been
Yeah,
deported.
about their
And that's
information.
just for the ones who
Right.
get caught. Well,
Yeah,
sorry, I
yeah.
mean the ones who get caught and aren't still allowed to remain in the country, like this guy was, who crashed his car and killed 2 people. So, Dean, if an illegal kills someone or commits a sex crime, what do you say to the victim or their family knowing that you could have prevented that crime
Correct.
by enforcing border laws? Is
Correct.
Dean going to address this? No, he's going to immediately shift to
No, he's
accusations
not gonna say
against
anything
Trump.
about
Actually, immediately is the wrong word. It's worse than that. He doesn't even wait for the caller to stop talking before he cuts him off to change the narrative.
And if you actually
Do
look
you think
this
that we
up,
should get sex offenders out of the country?
yes.
Then why'd you put a
Yes,
sex offender in the Oval Office? Donald Trump's been held civilly liable for the rape of a woman. Use
Yeah.
your brain, bro. Connect the dots.
Here we go again.
And, you know,
He's
the funny
not-
part is like the people
he was
watching
not
the stream are
civilly
gonna be like,
liable.
"Damn, Dean
Obviously,
just cooked
they
them.
dropped
Dean
the-
just clocked
right, they
them."
dropped
But no, I
everything.
mean, like, it's just super common sense. You think that sex offenders should be in America,
also,
but you put
those
one in the
were
Oval
that
Office.
that was
How
hush
the
money
hell
stuff.
can you retrospect upon that view and not come to the conclusion that you're just an absolute raging hypocrite.
So we are again
so to
going
say
try to
that
move
he
the
actually
conversation
did
to something
the
caller might be
graping,
unaware
yeah,
of.
no.
So you
Even
can
what, even
chastise him for 4 or 5
see
minutes
it,
about
or
it to make everyone in your
MSNBC
audience
or
think you
whatever, even
stupid,
they had to
so
say,
they
no,
ignore
it's
the
not
fact
true.
that you never really addressed the
'Cause
question.
they
Let
got
me ask
tagged
you a
by a
question. What was
lawsuit.
that woman's name?
So
I
the
don't
fact that
know,
even
but it
Dean
was.
Withers
I mean,
is still
gee, I would
pushing
love to
this
know the name of the
narrative
person that you're talking
where
about so I
a
can fact check
news
you, but
media
you never
outlet
say it.
Okay, let me
got
ask you a second
tagged in
question.
a settlement.
What is one piece of evidence
is,
that the United
is a
Jury of
little
9 that ruled that Donald
strange,
Trump was
right?
guilty of raping are used to find him guilty?
I don't know that case.
Seems like
You
he's
don't
still
know any evidence
propagating,
that they used to
you know,
find him guilty. Let me
propaganda,
ask you a
yes.
question. Well, where did he grape her?
Like I said, I don't know about the case.
You don't know?
No, I
What,
didn't
what
even know
year?
that Trump
What,
was a
what, what,
rapist
what year?
until you said that to me right now.
Oh, so you actually have no prior information
Yeah.
about this woman, about the civil court
He
case,
always
about the
does-
jury
right.
that ruled he was guilty.
Yeah, that's
Hassan
exactly
does
why
the
you
same
brought it up.
thing,
You
too.
know he doesn't know about
Right,
it. and because
everyone
you
in that
probably already
orbiting group
educated
who
your
does
audience
who
on this
does
topic,
the
you can
weird
make him look
right
stupid as a
that
way of
shit,
dismissing
yeah,
the
it's all
very good
from
point he was about
Hassan,
to make
Destiny,
about criminality.
Dean Wither.
What
It's
Dean
all
is
from the
doing
left
is so messed
fucking
up,
wing
and
party.
what's even more messed up is the case itself.
All from these fucking
But before we get
retards.
into that, may I remind you that House Democrats are well known
fucking
to use
commies.
false allegations as a political weapon. So there's a strong chance that this was done against Trump for political reasons, like the false allegations of sexual assault against Brett Kavanaugh to try and
Yeah.
prevent him from becoming the Supreme Court judge,
Right.
and the riot they started for that same purpose. With that said, as for Trump, of course he was tried in civil court because the burden of proof is much lower in civil court.
Yeah.
And he was accused of an assault by Jean Carroll that supposedly happened 20 years prior to the lawsuit.
Mhm.
Already throw that case out. It's way too old. The reason the statute of limitations exists is because people's memory gets shitty over time. The way they got around that was just to straight up change the law in New York to expand the statute of
Correct.
limitations.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they
to
literally
speed
had
things
to
up,
change the
Trump
law
lost the case,
because
but here's the thing.
right,
They did
that
not
was
find
the
him
only
guilty
way
of
they could
rape, nor
get
is he
Trump.
legally a sex
They
offender.
literally
So let-
right, they literally changed that law for Trump. Is it that should show you how fucking stupid the Democrats are in trying to do this shit. They literally waged the lawfare just so that they can try and get Trump on this small thing.
Let me just point out, like I did earlier, that Trump sued and won against a CBS anchor for accusing him
that's
of what
that's the
Dean
one,
accused
yeah,
him of.
ABC.
And personally, I think Carroll was lucky to get any victory on this case, considering that as far as I can find, really the only evidence she presented was her own story and a
Right,
friend
there
retelling
was
her
no
story.
other evidence.
There
It was
wasn't
a-
police
it was
report
just
or
her
a rape
he
kit
said,
or a
she said
security
bullshit.
camera or witnesses who were at the store who testified. So I have a really hard time believing a story from 20 years ago. With
Correct.
essentially
Also,
no
coming
evidence.
from a woman
Since
who
we're on the
looks
subject of illegal border
ugly,
crossing,
yeah,
this is a person's
compared to
story that Dean
Melania.
brought up a lot in videos that I've watched.
It's like,
Kilmar
yeah,
Armando
it's hard to
Abrego
believe.
Garcia. He was an immigrant that was sent to CICOT in El Salvador and beat and tortured for 3 weeks. While he was
No,
there being
you
beaten
are
and
not.
tortured-
He's not going to run defense for Abrego Garcias, is he? Oh, Jesus.
The Supreme Court had unanimously ruled that the Trump administration's removal of him to El Salvador was illegal, and they had to facilitate his return. And then after they ruled
Yeah,
it
he
was
just
illegal,
got
told them
returned,
that
and
they
then he had to go
facilitate
get
his return.
sent.
Trump's White House went on Twitter and said that he's literally never coming back.
Returned, and then he got
this was
put
all
through the
while
ringer
Abrego Armando
again,
Garcia
and
was
then he
being
got sent
beat
back.
and literally tortured by the guards in CICOT in El Salvador. I mean, he's like.
No, he was actually living a nice life. He was living. Dude, he was fat. He looks healthy for someone who went to CICOT, to be honest. Right. Right. I think some of the videos it showed that he was able to like watch TV sometimes or like read books and stuff, and he had like a bunch of snacks and whatnot.
Testified to
I
have
was
been
like,
forced to kneel from
yeah, I
9
don't
p.m.
know
to
about
6
that
a.m.
one.
And if he fell out of exhaustion, he would have been beat by the guards. He testified that he was beat by the guards. Testified that the guards kind of like stuck him in a really small room with bright fluorescent lights on 24/7 with no windows.
As far as I'm aware, there's no actual proof of the torture claims, just Garcia's
Correct.
testimony and the reputation of the prison. Now, at face value, what I would say is that if this guy was wrongly deported, then you bring him back, apologize,
Which they
give
did bring him
restitution,
back.
and then change protocol so that over time this
No,
kind of thing becomes less.
no, he didn't even. There was no restitution needed because he was already caught doing shady shit to begin with. They just brought him back for basically more hearings and testimony, and then they fucking shipped his ass back because he was fucking doing illegal shit.
likely.
The dude was a human
Realistically, if you're
trafficker.
deporting millions of people, then logistically
He was
you're
literally
going to have some
trafficking
hiccups.
people when he first
However,
fucking
when I
entered.
first heard Dean tell this story before I fact-checked it, I thought this guy was a legal citizen and they just wrongfully threw him out of the country. That's not the case. It turns out that Abrego Garcia is not an immigrant like
okay,
Dean
he goes
said he
into
was.
it. Yeah,
He was
sorry,
an
I kind of
illegal
just like
alien.
spilled.
What actually happened was that
spilled the
Garcia
beans
crossed the
already.
border
Oh my
illegally
God.
and resided here for like 8 years before he went to an immigration court and
Yeah.
got a hold on his deportation because he claimed his life was in danger. I can't exactly figure out why he was at the court, but he got arrested for loitering around a Home Depot, so that might be why. Really fighting those.
Not only that, but he was caught doing some human trafficking. There was body cam. I don't know if he's gonna go through here, but there was body cam footage of him in a car with a bunch of fucking
Stereotypes.
illegal.
But just on those grounds, I think he should be
illegals.
deported because instead of applying for something like asylum right away,
Bunch of
he
foreign
avoided the
invaders,
government for a
man.
bunch of years, and I believe only applied after he got caught.
I think every single illegal immigrant in the country should be
Hey,
removed.
it's nuts.
That's why we have laws. That's why we have borders. Kick them out of the country.
It's
That's
the
right. Kick
evil
every
blue
illegal immigrant out
anime
of the country.
character.
There is zero
oh
troll
no!
when I say that
It's
every
it's
single
Vishojo's
person
worst
in America
enemy.
illegally should be removed. If you are illegal in the country, leave.
Not far enough.
It's
H-1B
it's
visas are
the
slave
it's the
labor of the
VTuber's
middle
worst
class because
enemy,
you can just fire
Mr.
them
Next
and essentially
Talk.
get them deported if they try to organize. These visas need to be cut way the hell down. Microsoft should not be firing American workers to get cheap labor from India.
There are many examples of this, such as Microsoft recently cutting thousands of American workers
Yeah,
while
they just
requesting
fucking cut them.
14,000 more H-1B workers
Yeah,
this
you
year.
should look at
Another
the
example of
video
this
game
was
industry
Tesla,
too. There's a
where
lot of people
roughly
that got fucked up in that
15,000
industry too.
American employees were fired in April 2024, and many were replaced with
Also, the video game.
H-1B
I don't
visas.
think in the video
On
game
Twitter,
industry
Elon
there's
Musk
a
and
lot of
Vivek
H-1B
Ramaswamy
visas.
tried to
I
chalk
don't
this
think.
up to these immigrants just simply being the best.
Yeah, I
and
don't
the
think they
brightest.
actually
Yeah,
get
okay. They're paying them
immigrants
less for
for
longer hours and
tech
more work,
companies
and
like
they're willing
those.
to deal with it in order to stay in the country. It's coercive, exploitative, and dare I say, not very America first.
Allow me
Yeah,
to remind
it isn't.
everyone that Shoe on Head is on the left and also a fan of that Bernie Sanders clip where he says that open borders are a scam. Immigration policy is not a right versus left issue. Most Americans do
look.
not want open borders.
It's Asmongold's
Anyway, back to
favorite
Abrego
person,
Garcia. He was
Bernie
trying to skirt the
Sanders. Oh
system,
my
and he
goodness.
should not have been
I think
rewarded for
Shoe
doing
on Head
that.
likes him
His ass
too a
should have been
lot.
deported back in
What
2019.
a fucking pleb.
Wait, he actually did apply
What
for
a
asylum, but
loser.
was denied because that's supposed to be done
He
within a
spent
year of
most of
arriving in
his
the country.
life,
Pace judge.
right, going
Unfortunately,
on
that was overturned.
his
However,
campaigns,
here's
but
the interesting
couldn't
thing.
even become
There's a lot
fucking
of evidence
president.
that Garcia is an MS-13 gang member, and
Literally
after
got
applying
chewed
for
out by
asylum,
his own
the
part.
BBC says he
Literally got
got a withhold of removal
scapegoated.
status because he said
And
that
you
he
guys
was
still
afraid of
like
being
the guy, even
persecuted
though the dude
by
got
the rival gang of
scapegoated so many
MS-13,
times.
So that is
Are you guys?
suspicious as fuck.
What is wrong with you
Speaking
people?
of criminal behavior and accusations, I know that Dean is a believe all women type because I've watched him crash out over it. So these following allegations in Dean's eyes should be as good as true. That being said, Garcia has been accused of domestic violence multiple times by his wife, who I'm guessing he isn't legally married to. And the only reason
Yeah,
they didn't
apparently,
stand is
yeah,
because she
apparently
didn't show
there
up
was
to
two
court, which might be
incidences with the
because
wife.
he threatened her, or someone in the family emotionally bullied her, knowing he could be deported.
Right.
Garcia
Yeah,
also
and then
is
they
currently
tried to
on
get
trial
her
for
to
trafficking
like come
tons of
out on
illegals,
fucking. Yeah,
and
it
sounds
was
like
weird.
he's
Yeah, that
guilty.
whole situation
Personally,
was
I
so
think it's very
weird.
unlikely that you're this close in proximity to this much criminal behavior if you aren't a criminal. His trial is still ongoing, so I guess we'll see what happens. But I think this is exactly the type of person that Dean said should be
Okay,
deported.
that's what it was. He's
Yet
still on
defending
trial.
him.
For any and all
Yeah, they
undocumented
came. They
immigrants that
brought
were
him
deported
back,
under
and he's still
Obama
on
without
trial.
any prior violent offenses, I disagree with that too. My view on immigration is actually a little bit further left-leaning than the Democrat Party.
Whether he gets residency or not, may I point out that Dean brought up Kilmar Abrego Garcia in every debate video that I watched. Think about what that implies. It implies that deportation of people who have some legal right to be here happens so infrequently that this is the example that he has to use.
Yes.
So like I said, I think Dean
Because it does
purposefully
happen
brings up these very
infrequently.
nuanced cases
It's
that are
very rare.
incredibly difficult
Like
to
a lot of
research
these things
to
that
make
these
people look
guys are
stupid so he
spouting,
doesn't have to address
a
any
lot of it is
actual
just
arguments.
super
I mean,
rare
it took me
things that
hours to read
happen.
through Abrego Garcia's
Right? They
case.
always
And worse, he'll
they
actually
always
make
go
fun
on
of
the
and bully
fringe
people for trying to
cases
fact
that
check him live.
I'm trying
right,
to
there's
find
barely
something
any
here, trying to
fucking data
look
on.
it up as we're going.
As like when
Say
they
the
do
question
go
so I
on
can-
these fringe cases, it's a pretty
Say the question so
clear
you can
cut
type it in. Type it in
distinction
where?
of what's
ChatGPT?
happening.
No, not ChatGPT and Safari, so I can see what you're talking about.
Wait, see what I'm talking about?
Again, no one person can know everything there is to know about politics, so the point is
Correct.
to purposefully bring up a random fact or a story
Yeah,
to
bring
make
up
your
a
opponent
random
look
fact,
stupid,
story,
and
or
its relevance
topic
to the conversation doesn't
of
matter that
politics
much.
that
It gets worse with
hopefully
Dean,
they
though,
don't
because
know.
when a
It's
different
like,
caller
what?
actually
The
does
fuck
get
is
him
the
on
point of that?
something, he just changes the rules of the debate.
Correct.
In this call, they're talking talking about the border again, and Dean is busy saying that Trump violated the Constitution. So as a gotcha point, Dean asks the caller to name a Democrat who has committed a crime, to create some sort of metaphor.
Dude, I could do this too. I want you to give me an example of anything illegal that any Democrat has ever done.
Anything illegal that
Fraud,
any
embezzlement.
Democrat has done.
Yes,
I mean, Bill
Letitia
Clinton
James,
with a 17-year-old Monica Lewinsky.
Benny Willis.
Monica Lewinsky wasn't 17.
Questionable.
Okay. 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 So she was 24 in 1997, but you're saying that she was under the age of 18 when she started going to the White House. Maybe this was like potential coercement. Okay, I'm not going to use that as an example to show my hypothetical. Would you give me another example? Okay, Andrew Cuomo. What about him? He was a governor, by the way.
Governor, yes. Not bad.
And
So,
what did he step down for?
For sexual harassment.
To be fair, I can't confirm if these specific Clinton grooming allegations are true or not, and sexual harassment is the least of Cuomo's crimes, but Dean just got wrecked. Is he going to disavow
Correct.
these people like he constantly asks people to disavow Trump?
Correct.
No, he's not. He's instead basically going to tell the caller that's not fair and change the terms.
What
of the
about
question that
Tiffany
he asked.
Henyard, who
Can
just
you
got
give me
caught
an
up in some fraud
example
too?
of like something illegal that a Democrat has done that isn't like
And
sexual?
misappropriate
'cause
using
I'm just,
misappropriating
I'll
right
explain
taxpayers'
to you the point that I
funds.
wanted to make, but you're like only bringing up examples of like sexual harassment and pedophilia, and I don't want to like describe what I want like my
Oh,
my
what
retort to the
about
original argument. As it
one of
relates to, like,
Obama's
sexual
ex-cabinet
harassment or
members got
pedophilia.
caught
I
for
just don't wanna distort,
CP.
like an allegation of SA or P3ophilia.
I mean, that's real strange of you to request that in this case, considering all the statements
I
that
think
you
there
made
was some
about
other
Trump. He
senators
was trying to create a
recently that
metaphor out
got
of
caught
this
for
around
a
confirmation
CP
bias,
as
where he
well.
would hypothetically say that as a Democrat, any
was like,
crime a
yeah,
politician
oh,
commits
these guys
doesn't
are
count as
doing
long
it.
as he likes them. And the reason he didn't want to use the caller's examples is because he didn't want to distort the allegations of a sex crime. Bro, you literally have done that multiple times to your opponents, to the
Yeah,
extent where you might be
yes.
found guilty of defamation if you were sued.
Yeah,
the hypocrisy here
literally.
is ridiculous, and there's so much bias.
Right, he
In this
tried to
next
dox
clip,
that
we're
one
talking
person,
about how
right?
the
So it's
caller
like,
thinks
yeah,
that
he
Americans
tried.
should
So
not
that's
grant
definitely
birthright citizenship
right.
to the children of illegals,
He was already,
because that should
he was
only
already
be granted
fucking
to
out
people
of
with
there,
parents
man.
who are citizens. During this, Dean argues that deporting somebody with the current legal interpretation of birthright citizenship is a constitutional violation.
Okay, but now you're saying that you just legally, so you morally don't support giving citizenship to the children of undocumented immigrants. Well, I mean, that would call for like taking the proper legal channels in order to amend the Constitution. Okay, right? We obviously can't just say because Donald Trump doesn't like the Constitution and you agree with it that you don't like the
What the f-
Constitution either. That you could just throw the Constitution out of the fucking window.
Sure, it is unconstitutional. I mean, I could take the L on that and say that EO was unconstitutional.
Okay, all right. The EO is unconstitutional. And then earlier in the conversation, you said, well, if it was unconstitutional, why hasn't he been impeached for this? Basically telling me and everybody else listening that you think if a president does something unconstitutional, such as an EO banning birthright citizenship or banning guns, they should be impeached. So now that I've got you to concede that was unconstitutional, you're now going to turn around and call for his impeachment.
Okay,
correct?
when impeachment is called only on the most heinous
Okay,
things.
so then you're no longer a Trump
These
supporter
aren't
because you think he should
heinous
be thrown out of
things.
office.
These
I'm
are
still
just
a conservative.
differencing
just
in
ridiculous.
opinions
Remember how
and
Dean talked about how much he likes
legislation.
Obama? Well, Obama constantly violated the Constitution.
Correct.
While I will say that I do believe that we should take the proper legal channels to amend birthright citizenship, what I really don't like is how people like Dean will say that you're violating the Constitution if you want to deport
Correct.
kids with their parents, but at the same time, if you want to follow the Constitution by saying only the parents have to leave, well, then you're separating families if a sociopathic parent refuses to take their kids with them when they get deported. So this is like intentionally designed to be an unwinnable argument through emotional bullying. The correct answer is
Yes.
to not play this game by saying that you don't care and by saying that they shouldn't have broken the rules and they can either fly a plane back to their country of
Yeah.
origin with their kids or those kids can go into the foster system.
Correct.
Them being negligent parents is not our problem.
Yeah,
they
them
have the option to
being
be
exactly them being stupid for their own retarded decisions. That's not our problem, right? Like it's just like how it's not our problem that someone goes out with a gun and starts doing a fucking crime, right? We don't shackle the rest of the fucking civilization just because one person decided to be a fucking asshat, right? We don't do that shit.
with their kids that they want.
Well, I mean,
Two,
I
think
guess
probably
nowadays
most
we
people
do,
would
but-
agree that birthright citizenship should be abolished for children born to non-citizens or people without some legal status like a green card. We're all quite tired of illegals using anchor babies as human shields,
Correct.
while saying, have some compassion to stay in the country.
Correct.
Trying to manipulate people by threatening to abandon your child if the U.S. deports you for breaking the law is very morally close to child trafficking.
They talk to us so that they may deceive
I mean,
us.
it's the same
Every
thing with
word
how
is
the
true.
activists
They're
tried to save the
monsters
Black
who found they
Lives,
could
right?
lure
The
in
George
humans
Floyd,
by
right? Those
crying
George Floyd,
If you're willing to
Trayvon
throw your
Martin,
child
all
away
those
like
people.
that or use them as a
They
means
tried
to an
to,
end,
right? They tried
then I
to get
don't have
behind
any
these
sympathy
guys
for
that
you. But speaking of
obviously
Obama, Dean,
did some
where
bad
were you when all
shit.
those Fourth Amendment violations that Obama did through the Patriot Act? And since we're talking about taking the proper legal channels, did Obama do that when he started enacting all the gun control during his presidency? No, he didn't. But I guess that's okay because your friend Harry
Same with
Sisson said
Biden.
that
He
guns
he
were
enacted a
scary.
bunch of gun control stuff on right. But did we try to impeach him? Yeah, we did try to impeach him. Actually, they couldn't. They didn't want to impeach him because they knew that it would probably put us in a bad situation because we had Kamala Harris in the making, right?
And the fact that in many states in this country you can walk
So that's
into
why
one of
they
these
didn't
stores
impeach him
and
then.
10 minutes later
They just
walk out
allowed
with
it to play
AR-15
out.
is absurd. This experience made me want more gun
I mean,
control,
there was
not less.
rumblings for
Jeez,
Biden,
is he
but
the one
yeah,
who
like,
Dean called
right,
the
but
F
they
slur?
stopped it.
Oh,
Or
and
they
here's
didn't
one of my
want to.
favorite Obama moments where he openly says that he was going to use executive orders to subvert the Constitution.
Yeah. Also, Obama hated filibusters. He wanted to take out the filibuster because people were filibustering him so much.
I've got a pen and I've got a phone, and I can use that pen to sign executive orders and take executive actions and administrative actions that move the ball forward.
This is your hero, right, Dean? Also,
Right.
he actually says this multiple times.
I'm going to be working with Congress where I can to accomplish this. But I'm also going to act on my own if Congress is deadlocked. I've got a pen to take executive actions where Congress won't, and I've got a telephone to rally folks around the country
Got him.
on this mission.
But I guess none of that matters to people like
Yep.
Dean because it's not about moral consistency. Or
I mean,
making
you
good
could say
arguments
the
or
same
admitting
thing
defaults.
that, I mean,
It's
we
about
can go
winning
back
and
to the
making
old
money.
days where
Well, it's a lot
Abraham
more
Lincoln
about the
did
money
the same
part.
fucking
This is every
shit.
single time I see him
Right,
actually
signing
doing a
executive
debate,
orders.
He'll do like
Did he
these
not?
weird gotchas. He'll be like, "Do you think that the Bible is moral?"
That's literally what Trump is doing. Right, he's doing the same thing.
Slavery.
Right,
You're
Abraham Lincoln
pro-slavery?
did,
Guys,
signing
this guy's
executive orders to
pro-slavery.
get
It
shit
always
done.
becomes him trying to trick people into like admitting to like paradoxes and stuff. It's like someone will say, "Yeah, I believe in God," and then he'll be like, "Oh, really? Could God create a boulder that even he can't lift?" It's like, bro, this is
I mean, you could be
doing?
Chris Redfield and punch
Oh, you
Boulder.
can't answer the question. You concede God is not real, and it's like, oh my fucking God, dude.
Dean does that because he's not smart enough to succeed without it, and the
True,
rules for
yeah.
radicals tactics that he's using are incredibly hard to defeat without the debate turning into a shouting match. So if you're Dean, then
I
you
mean,
either
that's why
win or you draw,
Hassan
and a draw
Hassan
is
and
always
Destiny do
considered a win
shouting
by a
matches
person's own
because they
fan
don't
base.
they don't
I
fucking
think the
care
only
about that
person
shit.
who has successfully defeated this in my memory is Jordan Peterson against Kathy Newman, and then a second time with that GQ lady. But like I said, the only reason they're doing this is because they can't succeed otherwise.
The reason why they do this is because they're not getting any attention for their actual content. And so instead of that, they piggyback on internet hate mobs online in order to create the illusion of relevancy. That's what's happened.
Right.
To be clear,
Well,
as
not
Paul
only
was
that,
talking
but
about
they're
Anthony
also trying to
Fantano here,
right
this
start
situation bears a
trends.
close
Right, they're trying to
resemblance
set
Dean
trends
failing
too.
at his Andrew Tate grift, and then moving on to
Because
woke
all you
TVS
guys are
virtue
fucking
signaling.
trend chasers,
It's
are
not
you
about
not?
the morals. It's about the money.
And you guys are
And
trying
be
to make
clear
your own
again, I'm
trends
not
too.
saying that as a content creator you can't make money, but if you're doing so immorally, then that's a problem. And you know people like Dean don't give a fuck about morals, because
they
if they
don't.
cared about that, then they wouldn't constantly lie and misrepresent
Yeah, they wouldn't
everything,
constantly
because that
badger you
harms
with
the
that
audience
shit,
and the
right?
country. They also wouldn't call the CPS over an internet fight. These
Correct.
people are criminals, and they need to actually get punished for doing bad things. There's been a severe lack of that happening in this country, and what that does is it allows retards to speak over the smarter and more honest people on their side. Smart videos like this one here by Sean that was pretty good, or this one by Man Carrying Thing. The idea is to create a culture where people are actively looking for creators who are trying to be honest in their interpretation or their analysis, instead of looking to people like Dean Withers or Andrew
Man
Tate, who
Carrying
are just
Thing is
there to
pretty good.
scam
He
their
does a lot
audience for
of
money.
skits.
And the answer to that is to
joke
actually
skits
hold
and
people
stuff like that.
accountable for their crimes,
Satire,
which is something that we're
parody.
actually getting better at slowly recently.
kinda stuff.
People are starting to learn that mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent, and that applies personally as much as it does politically. Politics is just the representation of the sum total of everyone's personal lives, meaning that the more you let people walk all over you and the more that you don't hold people accountable for doing bad things in your personal life,
Yeah,
the
don't
more you'll
become a
enable
fucking
that to be done
punching bag.
politically. Because if everyone's just a pushover, then we won't
Yeah,
have enough
no-
strong
yeah,
people to
exactly.
stop all the criminals.
Yep.
And for those asking what to do
Yeah,
or
if
how
you-
they can make things better,
Right, if you had a bunch of pushovers, then you would just essentially have a bunch of gay people. Right? You would have you would have a bunch of effeminized men. And then you would get nothing done in the country because they're all fucking pussies.
all you have to do is stop putting up with bullshit. That's all it takes.
Basically.
Anyway, thanks for watching. Follow me on
You
Twitter,
heard him.
and I'll see
Stop
you in
putting
the
up
next
with
video.
bullshit. Exactly. Exactly. There it is.